Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the MGSR 24 hour for the 20th marathon. 20 years of Metal Gear Solid. We're excited to bring this to you. I'm Precious Roy. Uh, Join me
Englishman.
is the Englishman. How you doing
Hey.
today? Excellent, sir. So we're going to start off with a TAS of Metal Gear Solid VR missions done by the Englishman. Really excited for that. So I've got to ask, what got you into TASing this game?
This particular game, initially I had done tool assisted speedruns of Metal Gear Solid. This was in 2012, 2011. And then because there was so much padding in between the action, with the cutscenes and codecs, my thought was, maybe turning towards the VR missions, might give me a better understanding of the mechanics of the game. So I did two different tool assisted runs of this game. The first was just straight from power on. That was a little over 2 hours. And then the one you're about to
Okay.
see now is about an hour and a half. That one starts from what we call SRAM or save RAM. Basically, it's a memory card. It has a memory card in it where all the practice mode missions are already completed. So basically, you'll only see the missions that are already relevant to the leaderboards.
So skip the
When I start,
boilerplate, go straight to the action.
yeah, that was my initial plan when I started out the first task, but the unfortunately, for whatever reason, the emulator that we were working with at the time didn't support SRAM for PlayStation, so it didn't work out. But the second time it worked out, so that was great.
Beautiful. And about how long did this take you to put together?
This I try to remember, it was like about 3 or 4 months. I streamed most of my progress on Twitch at the time. I don't think any of the VODs survived yet, but I think it was about 3 or 4 months overall. It was pretty lengthy. I remember I documented a good chunk of it,
Yeah, I'm seeing
both on
the
Twitch and also yeah.
I'm seeing the notes here, and they are extensive notes. So if anybody wants to rise to the challenge, there's a definite jumping off point there.
Yeah,
With that,
there
I
is
think we're going to get into the task proper. Sparty, if you want to bring us over.
every jazz has that little intro at the beginning. It's they are customized to each of our encoders throughout the various tasks. That one is Fios. He's a pretty cool guy. But yeah, almost every task starts with power on. So the emulator uses BizHawk, which actually does have the classic PlayStation intro. So yeah, here I'm loading the memory card at 36.6% completion, which is all the practice mode missions completed. This is 3.48, which ties the world record. That's pretty much that is the very perfect time. But like the first 5 or 6 missions have already been optimized by the community. Like it's pretty much there are no other frames to save here. I remember this one. This one is actually kind of finicky. This third mission here, because I was ahead of my task by quite a bit going into it. But then I lost a couple of frames because of more accurate to console lag going into that crawl space. More accurate than PCSX, which is what I used for my first task.
Now, does task videos have a rule on preferred emulators?
Yeah, they have always have a preferred emulator whenever possible, and they will always accept movies that are slower in real time if they're used with a more accurate emulator and there are faster strategies. There's try to remember like specific instances of that. I remember like with my I remember I had to do some calculations for my improvement for Metal Gear Solid to prove like just how much for just how much I had improved when I moved to MGS1 Integral. The bit over PCSX, because that here's an interesting little strategy, by the way. Here I just sort of crouch, and that actually allows me to move forward a little bit, because for whatever reason he has a tiny little blind spot over there, that guard on the left.
Interesting. So their vision is not that good.
Well, their vision's not great to begin with, but for whatever reason, because their vision is narrowed during when they're being inquisitive during either the exclamation mark or question mark phase.
Whose footprints are these?
Aha.
So I remember I was very excited when I found that I could save an extra frame here. It's just really better angle management. Here, throw the guard, and then go over. I think I think this is also another instance where the time is tied. Right, even though, I mean, this was, I remember this was very confusing for people when I initially, for people who are not familiar with our community, when I because they were really impressed. Wow, half an hour improvement, how'd you do that? And I had to explain to them, no, first of all, it's more like 5 or 6 minutes, not half an hour, because I skipped the practice mode missions, and I provided a level by level breakdown of exactly what, where I improved what. Mainly, it's knowing where to go in exactly a straight line here, and yep, 6.3. There's gonna be a perfect opportunity for chat questions. By the way, one particular detective mission, which I think those of you who play VR missions, you'll know exactly which one. That'll be a perfect time. That'll be a perfect time to take chat questions. Anyway, here we go. Now Snake gets a gun, and things are gonna get really. Actually, yeah. Now Snake gets a gun. Now things are gonna get really interesting. Oh, this is the introduction of a technique called what did I call it in my submission? I'm trying to remember. It was snap aiming. That's what I called it. Snap aiming is basically intentionally aiming wide and then snapping back to your target. So the way that aiming works in Metal Gear Solid, it normally there's a kind of aim assist.
Okay.
In place where it will slowly it'll slowly adjust your aim towards your target if you aim towards your target, it'll compensate for whatever angle you're at. However, if you go towards one of the cardinal directions and snap back, it won't have that adjustment, and it'll immediately aim to wherever you're aiming, which makes it faster. So you're deliberately aiming wide and then aiming back, so it ends up being faster. Like here, a couple of frames, you can't really see it, but I'm doing it. And faster than aiming.
Okay.
That ends up being considerably faster than aiming on the perfect angle for every guard.
The beautiful thing about this is it looks like John Wick gunplay.
This is the sequel where John Wick is avenging an entire kennel of dead puppies. This was just one dog. I never really saw. Somehow I managed a better time on that sneaky mode 7 as opposed to the. Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is my favorite one. It took me about a week to get, and I'm so proud of it. 0.85 on SOCOM Sneaking 8. And my I think it was 0.86 I think on my old TAS, and I saved 1 frame on it, and that was I am so proud of that.
But you're gonna get that 1 frame.
Gotta get that 1 frame.
What was that noise?
So because of the snow here and the footprints, I took a specific route here when killing these enemies, just to make sure that I could kill everyone optimally without getting caught. I do not want to drop coffee on my keyboard, thank you. Right. So yeah, pretty standard stuff for Sneaky Mode 11. I did have to take like a tighter angle here. All right, so this one again is basically, again, you're jumping between targets on the left and right because they don't really move fast enough to be able to kill them in quick succession on the left and right. This took about 3 or 4 months on Survivor. Here, this ends up being fast enough that I can kill the guards while going back and forth. I think they changed the pattern of the searchlights on that version of Sneaky Mode 13 as opposed to the one without weapons. Here's another great one. I can't remember what I did for the old TAS, but it certainly didn't look that good. Plywood, there's a host button now, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so this map is the only instance, unfortunately, of the vent glitch in this run. I wish there were more instances of it, but, you know, sadly...
Hey, being in the floor is pretty sneaky.
Yeah. Yep, I gotta say, they are not expecting it. There you go, 15.6. 1.6 once you get the ammo bonus. Alright, so now we're in the weapon mode missions, starting, of course, with SOCOM. So, this breaks a record which held for, at the time, 17 years. This uses something called Weapon Boost, which is when you unequip and re-equip a weapon at the start, basically Snake would usually, a Snake starts faster when you unequip and re-equip a weapon. It's about 1 frame of improvement, or one frame of speed. So what had normally been a 3.74, I believe, is now a 3.7 on that first map. So yeah, it was that map, even though it was literally going in a straight line, it was room for improvement.
And micro improvements add up, of course.
Notice that sometimes on these maps with zeros, that the timer jumps up. So even if you go into there with a time less than 4 seconds, say, on that map, it still jumps up so that the there 533, so that it can actually calculate a proper zero time. It subtracts your ammo from your final
I
time.
gotcha.
It can't have less than 0, obviously. This is a C4. And this is another time that was thought to not be improvable until I found the item boost. And I'm pretty sure that the IL community has already tried that. Or at least they should have by now. Oh yeah, this map. This took a lot of trial and error to find the right positions and detonation times for those 8 targets. Just finding two spots to place the C4 and detonate. It was ridiculous.
C4 with moving targets is, I imagine, very difficult.
I'd say it's only really difficult on that one map. More so because because the design is so archaic. It's basically the game saying, here, try your best to randomly set them up. Whereas the rest of them are more like puzzles. That one's just sort of like, hey, blow things up and see what happens. Whereas, even with this one, it's establishing a puzzle that you're trying to solve.
Excellent, Snake.
And here we go with the FAMAS. So the FAMAS is an interesting weapon when you're trying to do tool assist speedruns. For the 3 of you out there who have not played Metal Gear Solid, this is a fully automatic assault rifle. And it sucks. And
I'm going to spare them the acronym.
Yeah. It misses at pretty much any range, but especially short range. And because it's especially bad with VR missions because again, like I mentioned before, there are time bonuses based on how much ammo you have left, and this game is it's not very good at preserving FAMAS ammo. So you're using a spray and pray weapon when you're trying to preserve as much ammo as possible and get as low a time as possible. So basically, it's almost like luck manipulation in a way, trying to make sure that you have as little ammo as possible, but at the same time, because if you can't really do burst fire as well. Sometimes I've found that you'll see a few instances. I can't remember whether it's in this or in the advanced mode or elsewhere, where it's actually faster to use spray and pray when moving between targets and subsections.
Sure.
Just because if you do try to burst fire, there's an extra animation of about a second where Snake drops the weapon and then lowers the weapon and then raises it again. And that takes about a second. So in some sections, it's faster to waste the ammo and raise it around. So, this game is weird. Anyway, grenades. Pretty straightforward. Much to talk about.
I don't
here.
think I've ever seen a grenade throwing this accurately.
Well, now you have. Wait! I thought you said you watched the TAS.
Oh, I have. I'm just still marveling at how accurate these grenade tosses are.
Yeah, just kidding around. And having a little bit of fun here. Don't try this at home. When you're cooking your grenades at home, don't spin around like an idiot. Be responsible with your grenades. Oh, this was an interesting strategy to come up with. I think I ended up using one less grenade here than I did in my old TAS. Even though I ended up being a little less slow in real time, a little slower in real time, I ended up saving time overall on leaderboards because of the ammo bonus.
The planning paying off.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I was able to get a combo, like 2 of them off of I was able to get 2 of the targets at once. So Claymore is interesting because Claymores are OSP on their maps for the most part, so you have to pick them up. Yeah, their VR mission works that way. I mean, there are some Claymore maps where there are some maps where you start with Claymores, but on a few of the Claymore maps, you have to pick them up specifically. So that also means that we can't use the item boost for those maps because he doesn't have an item. I tried it with the mine detector; it doesn't actually work. This is also one area where this is one map where the practice mode maps are actually like very different because you start with 99 claymores. Theoretically, have big different strategies. My favorite. Okay, just because it ends up being faster to go out of your way to pick up extra claymores to get that extra ammo bonus at the end. Okay, so this is a 0, much like in my old TAS, and I ended up actually being faster in real time, as well as getting that 0. See, you can see it jumped from like the 564 up to the 7 because it needs 7 seconds. I'm pretty sure that 0 is actually doable in real time. Yeah,
sure.
claymores have random spells, but they also have a random chance, at least when you're firing at human targets, they have a random chance of blowing up in Snake's face. They also have a random chance of determining if two enemies are in the line of fire of a claymore. They have a random chance of determining whether both enemies get hit or one or the other gets hit. That
So
again,
there's a
that's
coin
only
flip involved there.
But yeah, that's I guess I think that might be a mechanic to discourage using claymores as an offensive weapon. Like, because I guess like claymores are meant to be like I guess claymores were designed to be a defensive weapon. Like you weren't meant to be like throwing them around willy-nilly.
Right.
It is entirely random plywood. I've done testing. Advanced mode you see the advanced mode claymore missions.
Yeah.
It gets pretty crazy.
Excellent, Snake.
The damage Snake takes is not random, but the whether he takes damage is. Don't blink. It's over. There are analog inputs you could do in between shots that will affect where Snake starts, or Snake is turning. Unfortunately, when you have the targets that are outside of like his direct vertical range, which is why I had to manually shoot those targets at the bottom and top.
Okay.
Whereas here but I still have to wait for that one there because for whatever reason, the very top doesn't have a hitbox. You have to wait until it comes around that carousel. No idea why, like the very tippy top of that target does not have any hitbox.
So you have to save it for a little bit into that level.
Yeah, basically it's the equivalent of like an auto scroller. There's hacks. Don't tell anybody.
I'd like to subscribe to your aimbot if I could.
Yeah.
Oh no, you'll have to that information has been suppressed by the Patriots. You'll have to wait another 15 years. Yeah, unfortunately, you're not going to see like the true extent of how crazy the PSG-1 can get until we get to advanced mode. So here's the stinger. If you thought it was impressive quick scoping with the PSG-1, it is pretty impressive, but I will be quick scoping with the stinger as well, which I think is pretty cool. I forget whether it's on this map. But there are quick scopes later on with the Stinger. Actually, I think it's on the final map. With this map in particular, I tried to map it out. I tried to map it out so that a multi hits as much as possible, which is pretty difficult to do. But I think I managed it.
Is there enough ammo in this to do this 1-to-1?
Yes, I think so. Yeah,
I mean,
you have more than 20. Yeah, you have more than 20. So yes, I'd say so. Yeah, you have 40. In this one, you have 40. So, yeah, you have more than enough to do it. You have more than enough. You could still miss half your shots and still get it. You just wouldn't get an ammo bonus. God, I know what's happening, and I can't even keep track of this crap.
It looks a little different at full speed, doesn't it?
It does. I'm so used to when I was making it. Oh yeah, here are the quick scopes, by the way. There you go. Oh, you know, this is totally how you would use an anti-personnel missile.
Yeah.
The life.
Excellent, Snake.
And now I think we're getting into the advanced mode missions after this. Advanced mode. Oh yeah, advanced mode's fun.
Oh, advanced
So
mode is
there are.
beautiful.
This is where we're going to be starting to see a lot more zeros. Oh, and also the great advantages of snap aiming. So not only are we getting the ammo bonuses, but also the sneaking bonuses, because advanced mode has optional bonuses given for getting through every map without being seen, which is another 3 seconds on top of your ammo bonus. So 4 out of the 5 maps for advanced mode SOCOM are zeros.
Excellent, Snake.
This one, which has to be frame perfect to be a zero. As well.
Excellent, Snake.
No, that has like a second to, actually, I think SOCOM 4 could be doable for zero in real time. Because there's like a good second of margin of error. Unfortunately, this one's not a zero, just because it's too spread out, the enemies. But it's pretty good still.
Excellent, Snake.
1-5. Alright, so
Very well done.
Alright, so for C4, this is the stealthiest map in the game right here. Stealth! I got the stealth bonus. This is how stealth works, right? Perfect stealth.
It was very stealthy.
Yes.
He didn't see it coming.
I didn't. It was a perfect sneaking mission.
Excellent, Snake.
Alright, so this one's a very interesting one. Here I deliberately get caught, and now here I took damage from one of their bullets, so that when I exploded the C4, I wouldn't get that huge knockback damage, and I would still be invincible from that. So I only took damage from the gun. Yeah, basically that's just taking damage from something else, and in the process, so that I wouldn't take the huge amount of damage from the C4, and also more importantly, I wouldn't have the knockback animation. So here I just snap the necks to everybody to preserve the ammo bonus and the sneaky bonus. Although I throw this guy off, but yeah, you get the sneaky bonus and you get a good chunk of ammo bonus. 522. And we get the FAMAS, and I actually try to sneak with the FAMAS whenever possible, which is surprising, seeing as it is an unsuppressed, unsuppressed assault rifle, but I do manage to sneak with it somehow. Miracles of tool-assisted speedrunning, and also the miracles of genome filter coding technology. Well, I mean, it said sneaking bonus, so, you know.
I mean, the game wouldn't lie.
This one's really interesting, because it's... I had to devise, like, a specific route here to make sure that I could still get the sneaking bonus off that. Oh, it's a 0! I totally forgot about that 0! There you go. Alright. Third one, I deliberately just shot him once to preserve the sneaky bonus, and then so I could take like a more aggressive path through the sneaky bonus. And then that's like one of the only instances where I would use like a burst fire for the FAMAS, because it's pretty slow otherwise. But in that case, I just basically staggered his AI. And so here I finally got caught, just because it's faster for those two enemies.
Superb. There are a lot of zeros in this so far.
Anyone who's done VR missions probably hates this mission, because it's basically random whether or not you get the animation of the guy falling on his ass as opposed to flying through the air. Is whether or not you get a good time or not. This one, on the other hand, he always does the animation. Scripted too.
I love how he flies up the pipe.
It's in the world of Metal Gear.
Broken.
Oh, this one is pretty ridiculous. There was this ties the record set on the Konami Japanese leaderboards. And I had to figure it out. I had to figure out exactly what this guy did, and eventually I did. So, okay, this is also interesting. I set 2 grenades here just to kill some enemies, and then set this other guy's neck to save a grenade. Basically, that took about 2 or 3 days to set up, but it was worth it. I got an 8.3. Did I say like how much time I actually saved like overall in my submission comments? I forget. Am I allowed to post links?
You should be able to.
I think so. Hey, I posted a bunch of bloopers in my submission comments, so here's a great one that I had. This is from later on in the 1 minute versus enemy for Stinger. Hopefully that went through. This went wrong. Oh yeah, so that one Claymore that got spread out, that's a good example of Claymore randomness. It can either blow up in Snake's face or just damage him. Oh yeah, I totally forgot. Claymores can sometimes just damage enemies instead of killing them outright for no reason.
So it just will randomly not kill an enemy?
Yeah, it can just damage them. And it seems to happen a lot more with that sleeping guard on that other Claymore mission, that other Claymore mission that I just pointed out. Did everyone see did that GIF that I posted? Did that go through?
I didn't, but I just posted the submission.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's the one with the stinger. The one I said the one that's Dominoes. Oh, this one you're not supposed to be able to do stealthily, but I did it anyway. Sure. to go out of my way to grab as many claymores as I can and do the sneaking bonus. Go through. You're supposed to like, I forget how you're supposed to do it normally. We're not supposed to do the sneaky bonus. So, thanks.
Yep. You're just looking for your contacts in there. We do that all the time in some of these games.
Pretty sure that the Nikita does not exist in real life, and that it was just a reference to the film. Because you know how Kojima likes them movies. So here I deliberately waste a missile, which ends up being faster than killing these guys off one by one and getting the sneaky bonus. The 3-second sneaky bonus. You still get a 1-second sneaky bonus if you get caught once, and then if you get caught twice, you don't get any. So that's how it works in VR. Also, Snake is a massive hypocrite for calling Raiden out for being a grunt of the digital age, seeing as he clearly has spent a ton of time in VR himself, as demonstrated right here.
So you're clearly intended to go through the vents here, but you don't.
Well, no, you're supposed to go through the vents for that maze, but there's a massive shortcut around.
Now, I love this one because you don't get to see this mechanic in the main game. The Nikita can climb stairs.
Yeah, well, you can. It's an option, but it's just not used very often. There's entire levels built around this mechanic. Well, I mean, it's not VR, but I mean, he is a clone of a soldier, and I mean, he's bred for this thing. The point is that he's not a digital soldier, but he's like an analog soldier, I guess. Yeah. Amen. Hallelujah.
Excellent, Snake.
No, let's not argue semantics. Here we go. PSG 1. Again, don't blink. You'll miss things. According to the analog age listen some vital records. It's great. So there you go. Three guards dead right there. Is that a 0? There we go. This has been like over a year since I finished this task, so it's been a while. I get a feeling like some of these can be improved in real time at least, but I'm not going back to finish this. So this map has the only
make me frustrated at my wolf attempts.
That right there, that was the only legitimate mistake in this entire task. However, it doesn't really matter because I get a 0 anyway. But it's a real time mistake. But like I said, it doesn't matter on the leaderboards because I still get a 0. Redoing the whole task just for something that won't actually matter on the leaderboards. Yeah, we Sick Cakes, we actually have like speedrun leaderboards for all the VR missions on speedrun.com. And it really does need more contributions, I would say. Oh, here we go. Stinger. These are probably my favorite VR missions.
Oh, it is going to be good.
Yeah, these are actually, I'd say I like these more than the PSG-1 does. I'm just going to let these play. Coming. Now That number 4 is probably my favorite of the Stinger ones, because that was just a crazy idea I had one day, and it turned out it worked. You could just snipe those two guys from pretty much right from your spawn position. And this is a 0, which I'm like 99% sure is doable in real time, and no one has just gotten around to it. So please, guys, go. Look, there's like 2 seconds. The margin of error is like 2 seconds. In real time. Like there's currently only like 2 or 3. Down. There's like only like 2 or 3 0 times. Okay, so now we're getting into 1 minute versus target. You'll notice I'm punching really fast. This is the only map in the game that takes advantage of punch canceling. So there's a Japanese player, I forget who discovered that you can cancel the the kick in Snake's combo by pressing X, and you can cancel out of it. So I took that, and I discovered that you can do that for any of Snake's punches. So I'm just constantly canceling out of Snake's jab, which is the first punch of his 3-punch combo. These targets will die after any 3 of his 3 punches. So I'm just constantly jabbing. It's one jab and then a frame perfect press of the X button. Constantly. So basically Snake is punching with his left hand at a much faster rate than he ought to. Because of the canceling with the X button. I didn't get the nice number, but I needed to get a higher score. Sorry. Way through is take Dark Horse. So, the SOCOM map is interesting. You'll notice that there are points where I don't shoot certain targets. Especially targets that are like far away, like over there. That target there.
Okay.
There is something wrong on this map with the hit detection. You can on the targets that are like really far away. It doesn't have to do with like the range of the SOCOM, because the SOCOM has infinite range because they didn't program range for weapons because the maps are small. You could be locking on right onto a target and it won't fire. So for whatever reason, like those targets like far away there, they just won't. There'll just be points where you won't be able to fire them. They won't be able to fire on them no matter what. You could just be targeting straight at them. So I'll generally tend to prioritize, the ones at the 3, 6, or 9 positions, 9 o'clock positions. As opposed to the 12, because I can actually hit those. Also, C4 is probably if there's any of these target missions that can be improved drastically, it's probably C4, because I hate this mission, and I don't care. It's just this is the worst kind of C4 mission they could have thought up, and I ended up tying my old TAS, and I was okay with that. I just don't care.
Nope, stuff blew up. We're good.
The stuff blew up, and I got 111 points, which tied my old TAS. And at that point, I was just so sick of this stupid mission that I was just like, okay, fine, whatever. I'll just keep moving on to something interesting. Just go to Famous, whatever. Pretty sure like 100. I think the world record is 105 points, something like that. Alright, so Famous. Famous, this is another instance of me because I'm not being graded for my ammo preservation, I'm using a lot more spray and pray tactics than I did for the weapon mode or advanced mode. So, you'll notice here that I'm not bothering to preserve my ammo like I did in the other missions, just so that just as long as I get these targets destroyed in the fastest possible time.
And they're very generous with the ammo on this one.
Yeah, they give you 700. They give you 700 bullets to start with. Yeah, it's 1 minute. So yeah, for those of you who have not played VR missions, there's 2 sets of these. There's 1 minute versus target for every weapon, and then 1 minute versus enemy for every weapon. And they're very different. Like, they're not even the same maps that are. They have specialized maps for every for every weapon and for enemy versus target. So we're going for grenade. I dislike this mission as well, not as much as C4, but I still don't like it. This is me having to think, like, you know, people make jokes about fourth dimensional chess and stuff
Sure.
like that in contexts that I will not be addressing here, but I'm just this is like I had to think like 8 or 9 steps ahead for every grenade that I threw. You cannot luck manipulate where these targets spawn. Also, I guess if you have epilepsy, maybe you shouldn't be watching this. I don't know. I'm not an expert in epileptic seizures and what causes them, but I'm guessing this isn't great for you. But yeah, basically with every grenade throw, I had to think about where the targets are spawning and how much damage they'll cause. Oh, speaking of epileptic seizures, incidentally, I was playing Guacamelee recently, which I'm reviewing for my YouTube channel. Initially, I was playing the Gold Edition before switching to the more recent Super Turbo Championship Edition. The Gold Edition has a power it has a power up screen which has probably the most blatantly epileptic power up screen that I've seen in video games. Like they got away with it with 2 different editions of the game, and I don't know how nobody complained about that particular screen.
But everybody will scream about Pokemon.
It's like, was it just the anime that caused seizures in or one episode of the anime that caused seizures?
Yep.
It's like this is like every time you fought a boss or got a new item in Guacamelee, in the Gold Edition at least. I mean, I'm not epileptic myself, but even I felt like kind of queasy every time I saw this particular screen. Thankfully for the Super Turbo Championship Edition, the most recent one, they changed it so that it's not as icky. But oh yeah, also I blew myself up just for the hell of it. Yeah, anyway, if you want to, I don't really stream as much on Twitch anymore. If you do want to promote me, I guess just promote my YouTube channel, because I review games, and I'm going to be reviewing Guacamelee soon. Pretty good game. Now, if I'm here, I might as well promote myself. You want to promote anything you're working on, Roy? This is a pretty standard mission.
Haven't been working on a whole lot of stuff other than getting back on the Metal Gear Solid 2 grind.
Hey, if you live in the Michigan area and you need tech support, Roy's your guy.
Yeah, message me. I will get you sorted out.
Thanks for the plug, I appreciate it. Anyway, so yeah, this is much more straightforward than the grenade mission. These targets always spawn in either 3, 6, 9, or 12 o'clock positions, and they always spawn in the same spots. So basically, it's a matter of, you know, getting the right spots there. Out of 50 is the maxed out score. So now we're getting to PSG 1. So this is one instance where I think it was FS Tenonator who now has the best score. There is you'll notice I stopped here because there is a hard locked maxed out score for this because of the spawn rate. It's too the targets spawn too slowly. Just yeah, as you can see, they spawn relatively slowly. I'm shooting as fast as I can, but it's not, they spawn on a timer, so there is a maxed out high score. In testing, it's not as though the targets, will, it's not as though a new target will spawn when another is destroyed. I did try to make this as entertaining as possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, as you'll see, it's a I'm pretty sure that FS10inator has tied 76, which is the maxed out score. I'm fairly sure FS10inator also has a score of 76, or at least 75. Actually, no, yeah, I'm pretty sure he has 76. So you'll be seeing this map a lot. How the hell? Okay, I have no idea how that map. No, wait a minute. I'm trying to remember. That map. I think that slow menu may have. It's been a while because it's been like over a year since I've done this task. I cannot honestly I cannot remember whether that slow menu was a legitimate mistake or whether that was a result of luck manipulation to get more targets onto the screen. I honestly cannot remember. I want it to be the latter.
Claim the latter.
But I honestly
just claim the latter.
I assume it is the latter, but I legitimately cannot remember. Like, it has been so long. Yeah, also I want the targets to be as close to me as possible, so that I can, because again, like the stinger follows, it follows Mega Man rules, or so one bullet on screen at a time. Well, obviously not Buster rules, but or not Mega Man Buster rules, but it's yeah, one bullet at a time. So here we go. Now we got the enemy ones. This is interesting. So let's see. So I am deliberately getting caught immediately, and I'm getting canceled out of my throws by getting shot as I throw an enemy, which saves a little bit of time. Of course, I can only do it so many times, and because Snake's gonna die eventually. But I try to get canceled out of my throw with damage as much as possible before Snake dies. Normally, the wiser strategy would be to not get caught, but
this is the fun strategy.
Whoever cared about wise strategies, right?
I mean, the entertainment value is definitely there, and that's what you're looking for in something like this.
So high score, that's definitely there.
I haven't seen this many men fall to their death in a long time.
Don't make the joke I think you're gonna make. It's been not since you were at Universal Studios Orlando and saw all those men fall onto safe pads during a stunt expose.
I don't even think I was going there. I wasn't quite fast enough to get that one out.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm here. I'm here to make your top 10 anime saves for you before you even think about it. SOCOM, I'm taking deliberate paths here, just to manipulate enemy spawns. Basically, that's because unlike with the targets, enemies spawn randomly. The idea here is to get caught as early as possible, and the idea here is to get caught as early as possible and to luck manipulate enemy spawns. So I'm deliberately taking certain paths so that enemies will show up as often as possible, and then just snap that guy's neck for good luck. Okay, C4. Anything involving C4 is terrible, but actually, this is one instance where I want to set up an ambush. This is another instance where I want to try to get take damage from bullets, and then use my invincibility to basically to set up an explosion like a close quarters explosion. So yeah, basically enemies will spawn in certain groups of up to 4 at a time. So, or whatever possible, and just, you know, manipulate Snake's movements and enemy movements and when and where I take damage to try and make it so that groups of 4 will show up. Pretty successful at that overall.
It looks good.
And it felt good too, blowing up all these men. we do not condone blowing up men here at MGS Speedrunners, unless it saves time and or contributes to a higher score. Right, so here we go.
That gruesome gameplay you don't usually get to see in a run.
Yeah. Unless you go for like a max kills speedrun. Yeah, good luck for snapping people's necks. This takes place in an alternate universe where Snake wanted to be a chiropractor, but it didn't turn out so well. Oh, this is actually a weird situation. So you see those spawn areas in the north, south, east, and west.
Yeah.
When enemies spawn and they turn around, they're actually invincible. They don't become vulnerable until they turn the corner over there, and then as they turn that corner onto the playing field, that's when they start becoming vulnerable.
So they get a couple seconds of iframes on you.
It's about a second or two of iframes, basically, so that they get a chance to get into position, I guess. So this is a. You were talking about snapping necks. This is gonna have a good mixture of snapping necks and grenade throwing.
My 2 favorite things.
And this is. Yep. Also, taking damage so that I can immediately drop grenades at people's feet and explode them. That's also fun. There was a lot more neck snapping in the older version of this, as well as in the previous 2013 version of this TAS. I actually just started TASing very early on, like in about 2005, 2006. I was introduced to speedrunning as a whole by a friend of mine in high school who was a pretty high-ranking member of the Sonic Center.
Okay.
For those of you who are familiar with that, his name is Mike. He was pretty good guy, bit of an eccentric fellow, but he introduced me to the world of Sonic Adventure 2 IL speedrunning, and that was my first introduction to speedrunning as a whole. From there, I discovered Speed Devil's Archive, and from there I discovered what was then called NES videos, and eventually became TAS videos.
History lesson for the folks at home.
Thanks, Mike, wherever you are. You are responsible for this.
It will be on the test.
I wonder where he is now. I think I'm still friends with him on Facebook somewhere, but... Strafe machine. For part here for blowing up men's. But yeah, this is again, I have to take strange movement here, both to manipulate enemy spawns, but also to get luck manipulation so that claymores don't blow up in Snake's face. Because that tends to happen a lot. Claymores don't damage enemies instead of killing them. Because, like I mentioned before, that also tends to happen. I have no idea why. Also, yeah, I also manipulated it to blow up in Snake's face just to show it off because I could. Yeah, mystery stage is fun.
Swag.
I also hated this stage just because I couldn't really figure out a good way to beat my old TAS. I ended up just tying it. And there's no real reason for it. Like I couldn't figure it out. I just could not figure out what was going on, and there's like it was, I don't know, it's sort of the equivalent of, I don't know, I honestly don't understand what was going on here, but I ended up tying my TAS score for this map, and it's just, I don't know. Maybe I should have. It seems impressive. I know it seems impressive, and it is, but just knowing what I know about the game and how it works, it's just this is probably, this along with the enemies, along with the target C4 map, is the one I'm least impressive. I think is the I'm least happy with. Anyway, here's PSG1. So you'll notice I'm spending a lot of time not looking at the map. And that's because the enemy is enemies spawn when you're not, or the let me try to speak English. The game prioritizes spawning enemies when you are not looking at them, much like other games. So I'm trying to spend as much time not looking at this little castle fort that they have here as possible. So, you actually saw there that you saw an enemy spawning out of thin air. So I'm trying to manipulate enemy spawn positions here, so that they will appear as quickly as possible. Mostly, that means not looking at the map for certain increments of time. Yes, this is absolutely quickscoping.
And it's properly fast, man.
There we go, 65. I heard your cat earlier.
Yeah, she's lurking around constantly.
Alright, so that GIF from earlier is actually in this version of the TAS, but I turn away because I have to kill more men. Do you think you could post that GIF again? Why? I'm surprised I don't have. Also, I'm turning away from the playing field at certain points in order to manipulate spawns. Because again, just like with the PSG1, the game will spawn enemies when you're not looking. There are more bloopers where that came from. Including, there's also the one called "Enemies Lining Up for the Slaughter" from PSG1, or sorry, from the PSG1, which is also a pretty good blooper. There we go. We have 70 on Stinger. And now I think we're getting to... So versus 12, like I said before, this game is a rule. 4 enemies can only spawn at once. So basically we're here so that when the 4 enemies spawn and reinforcements appear, they will always be as close to us, or at least within range as much as possible. And in the versus 12, you don't get bonuses for sneaking or for ammo preservation. So
you can just go
it's
hog
all
wild.
aggression. Yeah, you go hog wild on everybody and use all of your ammo and guns and explosives. And you'll notice that I actually spent some time in the menus. So extra time in the menus there. Yeah, I just said Stinger Dark Horse. It's for this map, for the versus 12, it's always 4. They deliberately did that. Also, you'll notice that I'm much like in the main game. Running with a grenade is fastest. So I will always run with a grenade unless I have to use a pistol or some other weapon. Yeah, I gotta use my grenade, that's why. But yeah, for versus 12... Actually, no. So, I don't know why there's 5 enemies there, but I guess they changed the rules there. But normally it's 4 enemies. And I guess... There is a difference. It's very slight, but there is a difference. Only a couple frames. Also, you notice that on occasion, this actually is a deliberate inclusion of sticking with the deliberately staying in the menus for too long, which manipulates enemy pattern and spawns. So basically, I manipulated enemy positions there so that they would all blow up from the grenades and the C4, and I also manipulated the reinforcements so that they could be easily sniped and snapped out of the guy's neck. Like I said, it's such an incremental difference that it's probably not worth doing for RTA, but for VR missions, certainly it is. So here, all your ammo is at the top here. So basically, kill everyone here, and then I manipulate the spawns so that they are all within sniping range. And again, that's all stuff in the menu to manipulate reinforcements to come from the bottom so that they can all be grouped together.
These had to take you forever to plan out.
A lot of it I just did multiple takes of the same map. And then I would improvise routes several times over, and then basically like stitch together the best parts of each take. It was I think that it's still possible that there may be improvements over each one because the RNG in this game is so intricate. But certainly a lot of the best stuff of this came entirely by accident. I mean, well, it is certainly possible that there may yet be improvements. Because normally there had been, if I had gone there any faster, there would have been just 2 enemies instead of 3. And the 3rd enemy that spawned would have been like in the bottom left or somewhere like that. So by waiting there for a second, the enemy spawned where I wanted it to be. Anyway, here we go. Mystery! The detective mode missions. I wonder who this guy is who bumped into the camera. Oh, must be this really big fellow over here. There are actual speed strats for some of the mysteries here. Oh, this guy is he's the guy who has a fake mask on. The frame there. I can't believe I didn't notice that until like a year from now. And no, I'm not redoing the task because of one lost frame. The optimal strategy for that is 597. Also, you don't even need to test for like whether the enemy has cold breath, which is what you're supposed to do, because he's having a popsicle. So the mystery level 4. This actually has a speed strategy for it. So this one you do have to test to see whether he goes through the wall. However, so normally you have to wait for him to hit the wall. However, watch closely. You can grab him as he's going through the wall and do this. And then just break his neck. So there you go. He's a vigilante. Snake is definitely he has brought his own justice.
And he just teleports to you.
Yep, Snake is both Batman and the Punisher. And also, I think, Doctor Strange. And yeah, none of these guards have any collision detection, at least until you grab them. So you can just run through them and Yeah, that's I don't know why they don't have collision detection, but they don't. At least until you like directly interact with them. So I think this is where I this is where I restart because Johnny is randomly spawns out of the 3 guards. So I restarted here to luck manipulate it so that Johnny is the one in the center here. So yeah, as you can see, that was supposed to be 597 instead of 6. I lost a frame. I am so sorry. In that early mystery mission. Here, again, I'm restarting because the footprints are actually randomly generated. So, again, I could have also manipulated it by waiting in the results screen from the previous mission, but this is actually faster. It ends up being faster to restart the mission after you've done this here. Oh, once again, another very simple one. Again, 597. I am so sorry. I am indeed a poser. I have been exposed. Another one where I have to manipulate it so that the guy who thinks that solid is liquid is actually in the middle instead of to the side. There are people who have done that, by the way, Raichu, but they're usually the ones whose tasks are like 5 or 6 minutes long as opposed to an hour and a half. So yeah, basically the only trigger for getting that right is to have the mask on. You don't even have to wait for him to salute. If you try to grab the perp before you put the mask on, even if it's the right one, you still get a mission failure. So this one you have to wait for 5 minutes because the victim is actually playing dead, but you have to wait for him to do anything. So this is a perfect time, I think, to take questions from the chat.
Absolutely.
About like the making of TAS and anything else. Because we're just gonna have to dig around here for like 5 minutes.
Guys, we'd love to get your questions in.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Was kicking the door open faster?
Yeah, it is. I had done testing in other ones, and I think it only responds to kicking open the door, if I remember correctly. Yeah, there are also like little. There is no killer. At least not in this room. The guy's playing dead, and he's using ketchup to fake the blood. There are little clues that you can look around in here, but it actually ends up being slower. But they're actually scientists. They created nanomachines. That's a good question. Favorite mission to TAS. It's been, like I said, it's been a while. It's been over a year since I completed this. I would have to say like the I think it was. Let me see what I said in my comments. Stinger 3. 3 was the one I said in my submission comments. Oh, I will trust my submission comment. I will trust my submission comments and say that Advanced Mode Stinger 3 was my favorite.
I got one from Stig here. You mentioned doing different routes for missions and then stitching them together for the best parts. How long does an individual mission take to finalize on average?
About 45 minutes to an hour. Once I've like completed a route, because again, like the because the difference. I mean, because they're only a few seconds long each. I mean, if I still had the videos for my streams, I'd be able to tell you better. Because I mean, having the streams together worked a lot better, and being able to brainstorm to an audience,
Sure,
was great as well. TASing MGS2, I would love to do that. However, currently PlayStation 2 TASing is not great, to say the least. It is probably more likely that we will be TASing from the HD collection before the original PlayStation 2 version, because PS3 TASing is coming along pretty well. Like,
yeah,
you can see some videos of that, but yeah, it's probably more likely that you would see it's probably more likely that you would see a TAS of the HD version that has the loading trick loaded through SRAM than you would from the PS2 version. There was a TAS submitted of the Ghost Babel VR, which actually got rejected for being too boring, even though it was pretty well optimized. So that already happened. That wasn't me. That was someone else, though. Because there's a lot of waiting around, and when you there's a lot of waiting around and things on timers when you try to. There's no reason. You just gotta wait around. Basically, you can't do anything to speed this up. The only way to slow it down is to use the first person to look at the various items on the screen. And I created a random input generator. Well, no, I made like random numbers to represent each button on a PlayStation controller, and then stitch together some input so that I wouldn't have to make like 5 minutes of unique input. Looks like he's running around so randomly, and there we go. Oh no, we've solved the murder, guys. It's Ketchup. Ketchup did it. He killed the guy, even though he's still. And we got the puzzles.
this is a Kojima level troll, is what that is.
Absolutely. So now we're gonna play some dominoes. I love that mission. Actually, throwing it into the second throwing it into the second guy actually saves a bit of time there. There is, yeah, variety comes after puzzle. Do I have any bloopers? Yeah, if you could,
puzzle is a lot of precision,
yeah, if you
isn't
could,
it?
yeah. About Claymores make no sense. You can link that one. I really wish I had permission to link stuff. Is there a way to do that?
Look.
I hate ordering people around. This, by the way, is one of the few zeros that is currently few zero times that is currently done by humans. Will not get timed out for 3 minutes as opposed to links. Timed out during my own run, but it's is that the right thing? I get timed out and the video feed suddenly dies.
When you get timed out in the run, you get timed out for real.
I get timed out, Snake keels over, and my input suddenly dies, and I get banned from TAS videos for life. Alright, anyway, yeah, this is a variety mission that I really think should have been a puzzle mission, because it's pretty So here we go. So this is a this is what I think is a this is the first one. This is what I call 2 minutes for diving.
Excellent.
It's from the oh,
Shoot.
okay. I guess it didn't work. All right.
Moderation in this channel is going to drive me crazy.
That is the one instance where it is actually required to blow Snake up. I think it's almost TAS only. Oh, here's another 0, by the way, that I think should be pretty doable for RTA. Few zeros that I think are fairly doable. Also, check this out. Great stealth. Putting on both of the C4s. See me there.
Excellent.
This task was sorry. This strategy was, I forget who it was. Was it it was Dad Wildstar who invented this particular strategy, and I stole it from him. Was a guy that we found. Sorry, I forget whether it was me who found him or someone else. He has a crazy amount of really good VR times, and it's really inventive strategies. And a fair amount of my TAS strategies are sort of the logical conclusions of strategies that he invented, including this one. So there we go. Now it's variety. We're gonna drag this man, grab him a few drinks, find out his interests, whether he likes long romantic walks on the beach, and snap his neck. The logical conclusion to a loving relationship for Snake.
What was that noise?
This one's kind of weird. I deliberately knocked twice because if I hadn't done that, because then that causes him to run instead of walk over to the noise, and that saves a bit of time.
Excellent.
Hit in order for it to count as mission complete. I guess that in that case, oh yeah. So just to show off the incredible, can you link the aiming.jpg video?
Yeah, absolutely.
I hate ordering people around, but I guess that it's not going to work otherwise. So you're supposed to use C4 for this, but it's actually because of the aiming canceling, it's faster to just throw guys off the side. The video that Roy just posted is a great example of how amazing the targeting system is in this game sometimes. You'll see it it's from a later variety mission.
Excellent.
Here, again, there was a bit of luck manipulation I had to do because the spots where these invisible soldiers appear are randomized. So I waited a bit in the menu earlier to get an optimal position.
Excellent.
I did try experimenting as to whether I could use the vent glitch to skip the crawling there, but it turns out I couldn't. So you just get stuck.
Interesting. The one place that doesn't really work.
So this map is actually a visual representation of what happened to Konami's stock after they released Metal Gear Survive. Fun fact. Look at that. Go all the way down. There are two missions set in this map. The first one is just a pretty straightforward destroy all of the targets mission, and then the next one, I'm pretty sure those of you who have played this know what the next one is, but if you haven't, I won't spoil it for you. So in this one, you have to destroy the targets without killing any of the guards. But the guards have pretty wide hitboxes. So sorry, Konami promoted this. I'm very sorry. I'm sure Metal Gear Survive is a very good game. In fact, it's the most innovative shooter I've played in years. Anyway, so yeah, this mission here, this is the same map. It's done twice. The first time with the SOCOM, and again with the FAMAS. Again, that aiming.jpg, the aiming.jpg video that I posted earlier, that is from this map. It's amazing, and it shows how interesting the aiming can be in this map. And we're just going to do that map again, but with the FAMAS. The different when you play with the FAMAS, and unlike with the other targets, now it takes a couple of extra shots. It takes, I think, 2 shots to, or no, it takes one shot instead of 3 to destroy these targets. So feel free to post as many comments in that video as you want. Anyway, here we go. This is ammo preservation again is key because they are counting an ammo bonus here, but you do have to fire some extra spray and pray bullets because otherwise it just won't target it just won't log out of the targets at all. There's no free aiming in MGS1. And all right. Oh no, sorry, Mike. This is the other Stinger target map. It's got 20 targets. And in order to trigger the next part, you just gotta try and destroy as many as possible. However, I'm sure nothing is gonna happen after this. Oh no, it's a UFO! This is the one part that everyone seems to remember from VR missions. Everyone remembers the UFO mission, and now it's done. Oh, but we're almost done here.
With these.
Now, we have this is if you remember this is the sort of the predecessor to the Gurlagon missions from MGS2. You remember those?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is sort of there's only, I think, yeah, there's 2 missions here as opposed to with Gurlagon they got that's after that's like right towards the end. Sick Kids. There's 3 ninja missions. Yeah, basically you just, I think it takes 4 or 5 stingers, and then the second mission is actually a puzzle. This is Genola, which of course Genola in Latin Genola in Pig Latin is Enola Gay. Of course, another nuclear reference because Kojima. And I killed Meryl on the same frame as mission complete, which doesn't actually fail the mission.
leave her behind anyway.
So this is actually a puzzle. You have to you have to hit one Genola in the head, which causes him to think the other Genola did it. I just love this so much. Also, you can't kill, or you can't do anything else here because the game the game restricts your weapon use here just so that it can let the scripted event play out. They have a little hug. They reconcile, and a friendship hug that and then they have a nice little swim together.
Kaiju hug fest.
We saved Meryl. We saved Meryl from the Genola best friends. Right, here we go. This is what's called the VR mission, which is just a series of maps played consecutively. I'm not equipping any items here because you don't have any items. Start off OSP. I went in the map. I went in the item menu there for a bit, which manipulates their AI so they don't shoot at me. So again, all items are OSP. So again, that really quick turn there was a result of snap aiming, as I mentioned before. Again, it's me going to a cardinal direction for like 2 frames or 2 or 3 frames depending, and then I mentioned it before. It's going through. Also, yeah, running through the menu like that also has them avoiding me. Gets me stopped from shooting. Snap aiming is a quick aiming technique where I go from I aim in one cardinal direction and then snap back to where I was aiming before, which stops the game. It stops everyone from it stops Snake from slowly aiming to an area, and it instead has him snap to an exact angle, and it ends up being faster. So basically, you aim wide, and then
pop back.
Aim wide, and then it aims perfectly, as opposed to slowly adjusting to the perfect angle. Sort of like sort of thing. It is definitely not an RTA viable strat, unfortunately, unless you pause buffer it, I guess. But even then, you would have to get on that 3rd or 4th frame, you'd have to get I think it's the equivalent of normal AI, or like the normal difficulty AI, something like that. It's definitely not like extreme AI, but it's meant to be. They're using like the same code as the base game. I think it's the equivalent of I think it's like the equivalent of normal difficulty AI. So once again, like, running with the grenade is slightly faster, as usual. So I always run with the grenade unless I have to use the SOCOM. Like I said, it's much it's such a small difference, but still, it's enough that when you're counting in-game time, it's there. So there we go. Now I think we have the ninja missions. Yep, there we go. Ninja missions. So, Gray Fox has his own movesets, and using that square spin attack is the fastest method of movement. He also has directional influence on his spins, which you can use to turn him around a little bit. Yeah, basically he looks like a total spaz while doing this, but I like it. The second mission is to kill a certain number of enemies, and It's pretty fun, although it does require a lot of luck manipulation. And unlike with Snake, Gray Fox doesn't have a menu, so it's basically all of his luck manipulation is movement based, which means that this is one of the harder missions to do, just because everything. Yeah, you saw that there. He sort of like spun in midair. That was me using directional influence on his spin, where I would spin to the right and then hold left. So, fun fact, they did not give Gray Fox his unique model for warping into a level, so it actually uses Snake's model for a couple of frames, just for like when he's like entering the level, and then it goes in here. So then he turns into the ninja, yeah. So here, for when we're killing Snake, I reset once, so that Snake's in the best possible position, which is over on the left here. There we go, 886. I think this is also the RTA world record for that mission. And we have NG selection, which I think is the last set of missions, if I remember correctly. Yeah, they are. Last set of missions. So, yeah, this mission we're just picking up all the claymores. Fairly standard stuff. They get pretty crazy later on.
Snake found his contacts.
5 of them. He has 2 contacts and his 3 spares. And in this mission, we have a guard with a huge code of vision. And we just gotta wait in a box. This is another mission where the RTA record is the same as in the TAS. Although the RTA record uses pause buffering. This mission is another one where Dav Wildstar came up with a great strategy for this. Basically, you damage the first explosive partially, and then as you come around that corner, you complete the rest of it and start the chain of explosions as you're coming down. So that was all Dav Wildstar's idea. He is such an underrated player, even though he used like a camcorder to record all of his stuff and records it all on DVD. He's such a great guy. Such a great player. I went into first person briefly to stop my my foot from coming down and to stop the explosion. I ended up saving a bit of time. Up the guard and cause an alert. Yeah, it is just barely not possible to get a 0 on that mission. I was kind of disappointed, but whatever. Stinger. And it is. I did testing. Oh yeah, I forgot that you have to. In testing, it is getting the ammo bonus ends up being slower. And it's a murder mystery. And again, it's a joke murder mystery, because of course the perps always return to the scene of the crime, so you just gotta wait for the guard to return to his victim and then drag him to the goal. But it won't work until you actually do that, until he actually like goes over to the body and sort of looks down at it. Then it won't work. And he's invincible during that. That's what triggers the script. Is when after he completes that animation. TAS completes that, and then you get the concept art for Metal Gear Ray in the in the video game Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty, coming soon to a GameStop powered to the players near you. Great game, and that you get to play a snake for the whole game. It's gonna be awesome.
There's definitely no other character in that game.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's entirely on the big shell.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Well, there you
I
go. That's
believe
that
that's
is
time.
TAS. The tools for the speedrun of Metal Gear Solid VR missions 137.18.2. And there you go. That's that is my TAS. And it's pretty good if I do say so myself. I worked on it for a bit, and that was in 2017. And yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for watching, and I think you're going to enjoy the rest of the run. Who's up next on the schedule?
Up next, we've got Mini with Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake.
Man, that is going to be a great run. I'm definitely gonna watch that.
All right, I'm gonna kick it back over to Sparty.